in using this football field, what I'm actually doing when I do this, if I break it down, I'm challenging their identity of who they are as it relates to health and fitness and nutrition, and I'm also challenging them their beliefs and values as it relates. So I actually, in my first initial talk that I have with them in nutrition, I pretty much kind of telling them everything they know currently about nutrition, if they're accepting the social norms, needs to be rethought, needs to be challenged. So I'll use this as the context of time. So if this is the start of time, and this is present day 2017, and people will debate how long the human genome and how long humans as our form has been on the planet, how long we've been on the planet for. Some will say 3 million, some will say 5 million, some will say 25 million years that we've been on the planet. I don't really care. It's not about that. It's not about getting a debate. It's a visual representation just to make it easy for the client and for yourself. Let's just say 5 million and divide the oval into 5 equal parts. Okay, so this is the start of time. This is 2017. Now, this goal square represents the last 15 to 10,000 years. This blade of grass represents the last 100 years from a timeline perspective of nutrition. So if we walk from here all the way to there, what does this represent nutritionally? What did we do is probably a better question from nutritional. How did we evolve nutritionally? Well, we ate things that were hunted, fished, gathered, and plucked. We slept in pretty much pitch black darkness. Some will say we slept 12 hours a day. No one really knows. We drank mainly water. And really the only, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only real contact we had with hugely refined foods was honey, which we would go at great lengths to secure because we wanted calories, we wanted sugar, we wanted that sweetness, right? And even if you got sugar cane, there were more B vitamins in a sugar cane, and you'd have to have a lot of work to get through that sugar cane, and you'd get more vitamins and minerals than you would, or vitamins at least, than you would sugar, okay? So there's work in dealing with so. This 15,000 years, we had the Industrial Revolution, and we introduced grains into our diet. So if you look at the Roman Empire, they went out and secured fields and more land and more land and more land to farm and farm and farm. But also to get people to farm, you needed slaves, and you needed a military force to enforce that so that they would be able to harvest crops and all this kind of stuff to be able to go out and feed societies. Now, I'm not going to get into an ethical or political debate about this, or whether it's right and wrong, and how this has helped civilization, because it helped us civilize and control our food supply to a degree, because predominantly this was a hunted, fish gathering environment. But the point is here, these are relatively new additions to our diet. Okay, now whether you're for grains, against grains, whatever, it's still relatively new. Now if we look at the last 100 years, is where I want to spend most of my time with a client. This is where food has really become about a food product. So it's become about money, and how do we make more money from food. So these foods, I would call physiologically, these are normal foods. Socially, these are unacceptable foods. Socially, you go out and you say, I want chicken with some rice, or I want chicken with some vegetables, or I want chicken and I want fish. Why don't you have the pizza? Why don't you have the kebab? Why don't you have the grilled whatever, or the deep fried Mars bar? So these foods, you're seen as an outcast if you eat healthy. Whereas these foods are socially normal today, socially acceptable for us to open up a packet of something and eat it. Whereas physiologically, these are abnormal foods.